do? Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Mind Your Mission, a podcast for Christian women where we dive into God's Word and just talk about Christian living and all that. And today, we're really excited because we're going to be talking about practical homemaking systems, which I'm hoping to learn from Erin and Liz. Before we get started, Erin, did you want to share a life update?
Yeah, I mean, not too much has changed since last week, but we went camping this weekend, which was really fun. And it was our first time camping with kids, and so didn't necessarily know what I was getting myself into. But it ended up being really good. I feel like we were camping at Assateague Island, which if you don't know anything about Assateague Island, it's like sand, like beach camping. I did not realize how like serious they were about like the horses being so invasive. Like the horses, even if you're like standing there in a group, we had like 20 people. They'll come up and like get your food. So like when you see them coming, you have to like lock your food in these cages that they have under the tables, and then you have to just step away. And Weston, of course, like he is not really a shy guy usually, and so he is like, I was holding Haywood in the carrier and he just wanted to pet them, and I'm just like trying to wrangle him and save our food. And anyway, but I feel like if we could camp on Assateague, then we can pretty much camp like anywhere, because it was kind of cold the weekend that we went last weekend. Like it was cold at night, so we had to make sure everyone was warm enough. And it's really windy, which is hard for preparing food and on the fire and everything. And it was sand camping, so sand is everywhere. So I'm like, after that experience, I'm feeling really confident about the rest of our trips. So it was a lot of fun. We went with some friends, and yeah, I was nervous, of course, to have like two little kids in a tent together and like with sleeping and everything, but they did really good. They slept perfectly fine. Weston even slept until like 7:40 that day. I was like, how are you still sleeping? Everyone else was awake outside the tent, but like somehow. So that was a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm enjoying the nicer weather, but also like telling it to like calm down because it doesn't need to get this hot this fast. Like I'd enjoy some like high 60s days. So how about you? Anything fun going on? Or not fun, you know?
It's funny that you talk about like you went camping for that's a long period of time to be on the beach. I went to the beach on one of my days off with James when the weather was nice, and it was so fun. I got a little tent. He like took a nap in the tent. It was good, but I'm like, I can only last out there for 2 hours, so I don't know how people camp for over 24, but it was fun to take him to the beach, more so for me. But there's not many fun activities you can really do with the 4-month-old that like interests them. It's more for you.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, yeah, just getting back into work and everything and all that. It's fun.
Yeah. I feel like work has actually been exciting for me because I've been working on all my separation paperwork. And like, I think getting over the hurdle of reading all the policy and understanding the process has given me a lot of confidence. Like it's a lot to figure out initially looking at it, but now that I've gone into it, like it's exciting that all of that is like actually into motion. Like I submitted my memo to OPM yesterday, and it's just fun to think about. And all the medical stuff I feel like is what is next to tackle, because, and this is honestly for our listeners too, like getting out of the military, there's like a lot of medical claims that you can file. And it's so interesting because when you think about it, like we all have at some level like issues. Like there's like, we're not perfect by any means. It's just trying to figure out like what is like worth trying to claim on a medical VA claim and what's not. And this goes with like being above reproach, which I talked about on the guest episode, which will come out next week. But I don't. A lot of people view the VA claim as like trying to get as much as you can and just like, you know, in a sense, like maximize the benefit, which makes total sense. But I also don't want to try to claim things that aren't actually true. But also, I do have issues in some things like my thyroid and all this stuff. So it's like very interesting to walk through both on the moral side, but also just like the logistics of trying to figure out health, and like the healthcare system is just messy. So anyway, that's been kind of a crazy thing that I'm trying to figure out next.
Yeah. No, I'll just go behind you and figure out what you do.
We're figuring it out. I feel like that's my full-time job right now, which it's not. I have other things going on
Yeah.
too, which is also fun. Oh man, I feel like work has actually been exciting because all the Sail 250, America 250 stuff, it's actually kind of cool stuff to be a part of. So that'll
Yeah.
be fun in the summer being in the DC area. And then homemaking,
Mhm.
our primary job.
Yeah.
Okay, good transition. So let's talk about some practical systems today that make homemaking manageable. Systems, in my opinion, should simplify life, not complicate it. We're not trying to like add all these routines. We're trying to just like come up with good rhythms. And we wanted to have a quick pause to remind you that we are going to do a live Zoom call with anyone who wants to join our audience to talk about homemaking at the end of the month. So on Monday, April 27th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to have a Zoom call. So if you are interested in hopping on and sharing with us your best homemaking systems and just some of the background behind why you do the things you do and what works for you, we'd love to hear it. We'd probably learn a lot from each other. We will be meeting then, and we are super excited. But I want to start by asking you, Liz, what is one homemaking task that used to stress you out that you feel like you've gotten a handle on? And then what is one task that still stresses you out?
So one thing I feel like I've gotten a handle on, and this goes hand in hand with like going back to work, is like lunches. I used to never know what to do for lunches, but now I've been meal prepping our lunches because I don't like leftovers, so I can't eat like what we eat the night before. And Matt usually finishes no matter how much I make, what I make. So I feel like the easiest thing for us is just to meal prep lunches, and we eat different things. Like I like a salad, and I make him like chicken and sweet potato and broccoli and stuff because I can't eat meat left over and reheated. It grosses me out. So that is like lunch has been the bane of my existence. I feel like since I've been working and out of the academy where lunch was provided for me. But I just like meal prep everything on Sunday. And now that I like do the same thing, it's super easy. It doesn't take that long. So I feel like I've gotten a handle on that, and it also saves us money because I'm tempted to like go out to eat at work if I don't bring my lunch. But I feel like something that stresses me out is like deep cleaning my house. Like it's always picked up, but like scrubbing the baseboards and stuff like that. Like I really get an ick when there's stuff on our baseboards, but also I don't take the time to like clean the baseboards very often unless I was like nesting in my third trimester. So I feel like that's the hard part because you really need like a chunk of time to be able to really deep clean your house. And that's something I just haven't done lately. And I enjoy doing it, but it's just, I don't have the time for like 4 hours to deep clean my house. So I guess I could like pay someone to do it, but then it's like they're going to use toxic cleaning products probably, or I could have them use the ones I have. But yeah, that's my answer. What
Yeah,
about
I,
you?
I totally understand. After Weston, when I went back to work, we got someone to clean the house every other month just so that I had like peace of mind knowing that, oh, at least if I never get to it every other month, like someone does get underneath the couch or something like that. And that was really good, but I'd walk into the house and it would smell like chemicals. And when I first got like found her, I didn't care as much about chemicals. And then as I started cleaning up, like, my own life free of chemicals, like, the more I would notice the smell, and I'm like, "Yeah, I can't do this anymore." Anyway, that we stopped her right when I had Haven, but she could use, like, our natural stuff if I asked her to, of course. So I'm like I've gone back and forth, like, "Do I get her to clean again?" Because yeah, I have not had time to do some of the deep cleaning stuff since I went back to work, nor do I want to spend my time on the weekends doing that, but also it is, again, like, something that like going back to work, it's a sacrifice, like I should in a sense, but it's a whole conundrum and something that I'm figuring it out. But at the very least, well, when I get out of work, the baseboards will get cleaned
Yeah, it's like
in
this
like 8 months from
pretty
now.
big.
Yeah. Let's see, something that I feel like I have pretty nailed down. I've really been feeling confident about just our cooking. This week I've taken pictures of all of our dinners because I realized at the end of last week, as I was looking at my lunch at work, actually, because I do always take leftovers for work, which I'll talk about later in like the food section that we have. But I feel like I've just gotten cooking down, and I used to like really think that homemade cooking was complicated, but the more that I've gone along, I've just realized that it's actually simple once you like learn some basics of cooking. Like it doesn't take necessarily a fancy recipe to make a fancy meal. And so I've just really enjoyed like leaning into healthy cooking and just prioritizing protein and especially nursing, like making sure that I'm eating enough. So I've just really enjoyed that. And I feel like I have that pretty locked down. One thing that I don't have nailed down is like toys. Toy rotation. Like toys are just I feel like I'll clean our toys, get them organized, and then like the next day I'm like, we have so much clutter, but yet he plays with all these toys, so I'm not gonna get rid of them. But like how yeah, I've just not found a good way. I know that like if I were to start over, I would do something like KiwiCo or Love Every, but even then, like still so much comes into your house, especially like at the toddler stage when like I don't know, they find fun things for free at like a market or something or like grandparents or, like, there's just so much that comes in, and so it does just require constant decluttering, but man, I'm just, like, I always feel overwhelmed with toys. So, that's somewhere that I need advice on. So if you have a toy rotation locked down, let me know for anyone out there listening. Let's see. In 1 Corinthians 14:40, it says, "But all things should be done decently and in order." And so we really do want to try to figure out ways that we can create structure and order in our home. And I think that those two things, order and structure, help things function well. So let's start with like talking about daily and weekly rhythms. I feel like the biggest shift for me in homemaking was moving from like a strict schedule to rhythms. I have always tried to have like a master schedule and stick to it, but life is always changing and not every week, day, or year is going to look the same. Like after Weston was born, I tried to just have this really strict schedule where I do like a couple things on each day of the week and just do that every week. But it's like, well, okay, some days, weekends we're traveling, and some weekends were, or some weekdays we're busy going to the pool or something like that. So, like, I never was able to stick with it. And so I feel like having predictable rhythms that bring peace into the home rather than strict schedules just still allows for flexibility. But I think that kids especially thrive when they know what to expect and when there is some predictability with their schedule, not just like homemaking tasks like cleaning, but like what you're doing for dinner and how your evening routine is. Like if you have rhythms throughout your day and throughout your week, kids are going to thrive, I think. And then I also think that systems prevent decision fatigue. Like when I do meal plan and I have a plan for the week and I have that rhythm, I don't have to think so much about like what I'm doing every night for dinner. And then also on Sunday nights, I just know that I'm going to sit down and meal plan. Like when I have those rhythms in place, I don't have to think about it as much and I don't get as overwhelmed. And since going back to work, I've actually been reminded just how much daily rhythms help our days run smoothly and allow me to be a better mom to my kids and a better wife to my husband. Since going back to work, I have more of a morning routine since I do have to get out of the house at a certain time. Meal times, it's very interesting. So since we have people coming into our home to like watch our kids, I want to make sure that I have like a pretty good idea of what they can have for lunch every day and what they could have for breakfast. That person who's here doesn't have to like figure that out. Like I already have it set out. And what I've realized doing that, like I just in the evening take a few minutes to like prep their lunch, prep my lunch, and prep our breakfast. And then I realize I'm like, wow, this is nice. Like I should do this when I am home too, because when I am home and I have to figure out how to cook breakfast with a toddler and a baby, it's like a lot of work. But when I like this morning, for example, I already cracked like my eggs and mixed them in a bowl, and all I have to do is pour them in the pan this morning. So like doing as much as you can ahead of time really helps things run smoothly, and it allows your attention span to be more focused on your kids than on your house at that point or on the tasks you're doing at that point, which is really great, and like it offers freedom, I think. And then same thing, having rhythms for an evening cleanup. Like right after the kids go to bed, my husband and I just for it only takes us like 20 minutes. We just pedal to the metal, get everything cleaned up, and then we're good to go for the evening. And then it makes sure everything is reset for the next day. So I think that having these rhythms, also you could have weekly rhythms for like laundry days or for your grocery day, like having weekly rhythms as well as daily rhythms, I think helps so much. Liz, what rhythm has helped you run your home smoother?
I feel like for me, the morning times are like what sets me up for my whole day. So I always have been like an early riser. Going back to work, I wake up at like 4:30 every day because if I don't wake up at that time, I can't get everything done. It's like crazy. So I feel like that is a rhythm that like sets me and my family up for the whole day. I'm the only one up, but I can like pump and get all his bottles ready for the day. And then I can do like a short workout, and then I can make like our coffee, and my husband likes a smoothie in the morning, and then I can like get ready, and then I get my son and I pack everything for work because it's a whole thing. Being a worried mom, all the stuff you have to bring. Like if I don't wake up at 4:30, I'm forgetting something. And I'll forget something either way. But I feel like that is the biggest hack for me, just personally. I
Yeah,
just
you've always been a morning person, I feel like.
yeah, that's like when my best work is done. And then the evenings I kind of chill and I don't do as much. Like I'll tidy up but I mainly prep for the day in the morning. I feel like just because that's when I like to. But everyone's different. Some people like the night before, but I just have no energy the night before. So I do a lot of my prep in the morning.
Gotcha. Yeah, Ecclesiastes 3:1, it says, "For everything there's a season and a time for every matter under heaven." So just remember that life has natural seasons and rhythms, and we just have to kind of lean into them rather than fighting them. Like if you have to shift a rhythm in a certain season, like you can do that. But I think it's just important to just reevaluate pretty frequently and just think about what's working for you and your family. Okay, let's get into some food and cooking, how to simplify food and cooking. I feel like for most people, food is one of the biggest stress points in the home, and that's probably for a good reason. I think it means that people know it's important. It's important for our health, and we also know that it can be expensive. And both of those reasons, the health and the expense, are why I think the focus here needs to be on realistic, healthy habits. I recently heard the quote, the best plan is the one that you can stick with. And I heard it in the context of working out, but I think that this is also so true with cooking because it's so easy to get burned out with cooking. So I do think it's possible to keep meals simple while still having variety. I break my week up by the protein, and then I'm not afraid to add a twist to a basic standby recipe. So what I mean by breaking up by protein is I know that on Monday we're going to have a meal with pork. I know on Tuesdays we're going to have a meal with chicken. I know on Wednesdays we're going to have a meal with ground beef and so forth, like fish, whatever. That way, like the whole week is already set in some sense, but then I'm not like making the same thing every week. I have some options. Like on Monday, like I can make ribs, I can make pulled pork sandwiches, I could make a pork roast, I could make just ground pork something. Like there's a lot of options with the meat, but I already know like what the bulk of my meal is going to be, and that's also where meat is probably the most expensive thing too. So like I already have those things set out. I can buy in bulk, but then I still can like choose what I'm making. And then what I mean by like adding a twist to a standby recipe, for example, like oftentimes, like roughly every other Wednesday, because Wednesday's Survivor night, we'll have pizza at our house. And I make pizza from home, and it's a pretty simple thing for me now that I've done it like so many times. But like we're not just having like pepperoni cheese pizza. Some nights we'll have like a garlic chicken tomato spinach pizza, and it'll feel like a different meal. Or we'll have Hawaiian pizza, like something like pizza or something like pasta or something like I do a lot of bowls these days, just like throw everything in a bowl, like rice and vegetables and meat in a bowl. Like you can add so much variety, but it's still like the same meal on the board. Like we have a chalkboard where we have meals and we write our menu for the week. And so like you can keep things simple, but still shake it up. Cause I get bored oftentimes with like the same meals over and over. Like I like variety. I'm not someone who can eat the same thing every week, but I also like the simplicity of like knowing like what the base is going to be. I also think that I just tell everyone, like if you can schedule out the whole week, I do think that that just reduces stress and waste. And I use ChatGPT for this. I asked ChatGPT, I say, help me plan 6 meals for the week. If I already know like a few things that I want to make for the week, I'll say like, okay, I want to have steak and asparagus one night, and I want to have shrimp tacos another night. And I want the 6 other meals to be healthy, cost effective, and simple and then I'll name like the meats that I have left. So I'll tell ChatGPT that, and it'll give me the list, and then I'll ask it to give me the shopping list based on the store that I'm going to so that it's organized. And I just like have the list on my phone, and I either walk around the store in like that order, or if I'm doing grocery pickup or delivery, then I can just do it really quick because I already have the list. And so I just think that having a plan reduces one, your dependence on processed convenience food, but then also helps you be most cost effective because you're using ingredients. Like oftentimes in multiple meals, like this week on Wednesday, I cooked a whole pot of rice, and then we're having rice with a few of our meals this week. Like it just makes things really simple. And then I often make 2 lists, one's for buying in bulk and one's for the grocery store, because I buy all the staples and like clean or organic options that I can find in bulk first. So we'll go to Costco every week. Luckily, we have a Costco near our work. I know that's not a close thing for everybody, but then after that, we'll shop a store like Aldi because they have so many great organic options. And oftentimes we'll do pickup because like $2 to do pickup, and you don't have to like spend the time going in the store. Sometimes when I'm with my kids, I like to go in the grocery store because I like them to like have an activity with me and learn how to have manners in public and all those things. Then so it's Costco, a cheaper store like Aldi, and then if I can't find what I'm looking for, then I'll do like a delivery from Walmart or something like that. So that's kind of like my process for meal planning, and I feel like I don't know. I just feel like I've gotten it down, and I feel like it doesn't take me very much time because when I get home, even though I enjoy cooking, I don't want all my time to be spent in the kitchen. I want my time to be spent with my kids, but I also want to get dinner on the table at like 5:30 because then we can have a solid evening routine and not feel rushed for the night. So, and I like to have the dishes done before I eat, which is like so silly, but I'm a clean as you go girl. And
Some
that
at
just
it.
like, that just reduces like after I put the kids to bed, like I don't have like a load of like mound of dishes to do. I've already done most of them. And I don't mean like every single dish as you use it. Like I'll get everything in the pot, in the pan, in the oven, wherever it's going, and then I'll do the dishes really fast. Like it just doesn't take much time. I also run my dishwasher every single night. We used to not do that, and I don't know why, but because then everything just like sat on the dishes overnight and then it wouldn't clean as well. But we run it every night. We empty it every morning. That's one of Nolan's tasks before he leaves for work. Like he just empties it so that we have a clean slate in the morning and just load it all day, run it at night. That way we just don't have to think about it.
I feel like our dinner things are a little bit different because Matt likes the same thing every night, and I'm also the same way. Just because it reduces our decision fatigue, it's like
I wish I could do that. I get so bored.
I think maybe when I do stay at home, like, it'll be fun to, like, make, like, good dinners, but right now, I'm just like, we both like, I'll try to make, like, a fun dinner. He's like, "No." He just prefers, like, the same thing and what he's used to, so I'm like, "Okay, that makes my life easier." So, meal planning has helped a lot. I didn't start doing that till we had our son, honestly, because I would just, like, go and pick up what we needed, like, throughout the week because I could just run to the store, but now it's, like, a lot harder. I don't wanna, like, run to the store with my son, or we went out to eat a lot. That was, like, fun for us. We don't do that anymore. I do the same thing where I, like, plan out our meals for the week. They're just pretty much the same thing and, like, very simple, and I do a lot of meals that kinda cook themselves, if that makes sense. Like, something I just, like, throw everything in the oven and then it's done, or the Instant Pot and then it's done, so I, like, don't spend a I don't enjoy cooking, so I just do things that basically yeah, are done quickly. Like he really likes pasta. That's super easy to make. We also only eat ground beef and chicken, so it really simplifies our meals. We don't like fish. We're not really steak people. So we're making
Simple.
yeah, something with ground beef and something with chicken. So it just depends on who you are as like a person because that's
Mhm.
just what like I love ground beef and I love chicken. And he's the same way. And we have the same sort of taste, which is interesting, but it's easy for cooking that we kind of prefer the same things. And a few things too, I feel like that make our evenings easier is I have, like, a couple meal options that I can just, like, put in the air fryer and it can be ready in 5 minutes. So, what I did, I get, like, those, like, chicken sausages from Costco, the Amy Lou ones. Those are, like, the best, and basically make, like, hot dogs with them because you can just pop them in the air fryer for, like, 4 minutes, and then I just will put some sweet potato fries in there, and that cooks itself in, like, 10 minutes. And so those are having those options during the week too when you're super busy. Like, I'm solo parenting, so I'm like, I don't wanna sit down and just, like, cook a meal. So, those are super helpful too, to have those in a couple a week normally is what I have, so that way I don't have to go eat out and I have an option for quick eating at home.
Yeah, I feel like having just default meals for busy days, like, we do a lot of, like, either freezer meals that are, like, prepackaged, like I mentioned last week, like the Kevin's meals. Some of them have good ingredients, some of them don't, you have to be picky. But just having things like, I don't know, pasta on standby or just things that you know are quick and easy. We often do, like, salmon and a veggie, that's, like, a super quick meal, or steak and a veggie is actually, like, such a quick meal. Or a lot of times too, what I'll do is I will cook extra. I know you don't like leftovers, but if you like leftovers, I cook extra for leftovers. Like, one, I have been planning for lunch the next day. So, like, I plan at dinner to make enough for like 5, because Weston, 5 servings, because our dinner, Weston's dinner, and then our lunch. Like, I plan to have enough so that we have a full lunch. And if you're a stay at home mom, like, especially, like, you actually need to plan for lunch. Like, not just if you're going outside the house, like, plan for lunch. Because oftentimes when I was home with Weston, like, and Haven, I wouldn't eat lunch. I would just, like, think well, lunch was an afterthought. Like, after they went to bed, I'm like, "Oh, maybe I should eat something," and then I never would eat a full lunch. Like, it's important to eat food, but just keep it simple. And then I would also freeze leftovers if we had more. Like, sometimes I'll make 2 full batches of whatever I'm making that night, because 1 mess, 2 meals, and then I'll freeze them. That way, if we have a busy day, like, I can just pull it out of the freezer and throw it in the ovens. If it's a whole new meal for you, Liz, will you eat it? Like, if it's, like, you freeze, like, a pasta bake, for example, and then you pull it out of the freezer and cook it, will you eat it?
Yeah, I could do that. It's just
Okay.
if it's been cooked, I can't eat reheated meat. It grosses me out. And even I'll make 6 servings of a meal. It's gone. It doesn't.
That
I
just
will eat
eats
it
it
all.
all?
No matter how much. I guess I could, like, package it and then give it to him, but I think it's easier to just I prefer just, like, meal prepping and having the same thing for lunch every day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's the same way. I think he likes just 'cause sometimes he doesn't like what's for dinner. It's like, I know he likes chicken and broccoli and sweet potato, so I
There
just
you
make.
go. No, that's actually great, and Nolan, I don't think tastes food. He just, like, eats it. Food is just fuel for him, like, I always say, "I live to eat, he eats to live." That's Nolan just he just eats whatever, so it is easy for me in that sense, but
Yeah, Matt's very
in
picky.
Weston, I've just, like, refused to let him be picky, like, I don't make him his own food. I just like, whatever we're eating, he will eat, and I'll always have something on his plate that I know that he'll eat, and if he doesn't, then he can pick either a meat stick or a cheese stick, but that's his only other options, and so he just knows that, and once I'm sure James is eating food, it'll be fun too, but yeah, when they're little, they're not picky, which is great. It's only once they get once they're toddlers that they're picky, so in Proverbs 31:15, it says, "Rises while it is yet night and provides food for her household and portion for her maidens." So just remember that providing food for your household has always been part of caring for your home. You're not doing it in a controlling or striving way. You're doing it because it brings freedom in the areas that matter. So next, let's talk about the dreaded cleaning and laundry system. So here I think one thing I've just learned is that cleaning doesn't necessarily have to be constant to be effective, and the goal is maintenance, not perfection. So some days are like just gonna include a reset, like a little house reset. And it's I think doing little house resets over time is gonna prevent the overwhelming messes and like it's gonna increase your feeling of accomplishment. By doing something small every day, you're not gonna feel like you have like this daunting task to do on the weekend. Plus, you're gonna get a little bit of, like, that satisfactory feeling when you've done the task, like, a little bit every day because you feel like, "Okay, I cleaned the house today. I feel good." So, you don't need to clean everything every day, and systems, I think, just reduce the mental load of, "Where do I start?" That big looming question.
Yeah, this is I don't have this figured out. I feel like when I was home, I would just do it as I went, and now going back to work, I'm like, I don't know when to do all this stuff. Like, our house is like, we don't leave it a mess, but I'm like, when do I have time to, like, deep clean the bathrooms? Because I get an ick if there's, like, any hair in the bathroom. My hair's falling out. So I don't know. I need your
Got over
tips
that
for
quick.
this one.
Yeah, so, let me see, when it comes to rhythms here, I feel like the evenings are really, like I know you're not, like, an evening person, but the evening reset, it's not, like, late, it's right after the kids go to bed, like, that really sets my day up, because what I do is I have the kitchen cleaned up, and I mean, you're cleaning the kitchen every single day, like,
Yeah.
that's just a fact that I had to get over, like, some days I'm like, "Man, I feel like I just did this," and that's true, because you have to do it every
Mhm.
day, you just gotta get
Yeah.
over that and just do it, clean the kitchen every day, have it reset, dishes done, dishwasher run, all that, and then the rest of the house, like, toys put away. I think having baskets, when James is a little bit older, like, he will have toys out, like, just having baskets, so one, he can like, learn from a young age to, like, clean up his own toys, like, before you eat dinner, just have the kids, like, clean up their own toys, but then if they don't, like, baskets just make things super simple because even if you're not, like, organizing the toys within the baskets, at least they're put away, and then it opens up the floor, like, I try to do the floors most nights, I feel like the floors, like you mentioned the hair, the floors will get out of hand so fast, like, the Tineco helps, but I am so tempted, I think I might put it on my Christmas list for next year, like, to get one of those, like, the, robot
Yeah.
wet dry vacuums, because then
I
I could just run at night every night, like, that would be great.
I literally had that thought, like, yesterday. I'm like, I just need one of those things.
Yeah, the floors are the bane of my existence, but I also don't mind doing the floors, like, it's not it doesn't take that long, but it also I hate walking on dirty floors, and
Well,
no one's a shoes in the house person, so the 2 don't go together.
I
So
hate dirty floors too. I feel that.
and with kids, they're crawling on the floor, so it's like, man, you need them clean.
Mhm.
The bathrooms are probably something that I slack on the most, but I we have a super tiny downstairs bathroom, and so I feel like now that Weston is using the bathroom, like, he's sitting there on the pot for a few minutes reading books when, he needs to go. So, like, well, okay, I'm kinda just stuck in the bathroom with him, so let me just take a paper towel and some spray and just clean the bathroom really fast, and I think I always make it up to be something way harder in my head, but once I just actually do it, like, I'm washing my hands, okay, let me just grab paper towel, wipe off the sink, like, that's how I feel like I've kept the bathrooms clean in our house. Like, I don't really vividly in my head remember cleaning them, like, when did I clean the bathroom? Well, I didn't necessarily, it just stays clean, if that makes sense. Like, that's how I've tried to view some of the spaces is like, let me just keep this clean versus have to clean it. And I feel like that just it keeps things from piling up without needing a full cleaning day, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like my cleaning. I feel like I don't even have any grand systems because again, I just am doing it all the time. Like every night I'll spray the table, wipe the table. Every night I'm trying to think of other areas. I do the floors every other I try to do the floors every other night.
Yeah, I'm bad about doing the floors until the weekend, and it just gets gross.
Yeah, I used to wait and do them like once a week, but then I've realized I just need to do it more often. And I think once you just get in the pattern of having it a task you do every day, then it gets easier because it doesn't take as much time to do the floors because you don't have to do as in depth of a job, I guess.
Yeah.
One thing I need to do more often is wash our sheets. I do not do that nearly enough. No, but we'll get in a rhythm. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, fine.
Let's transition kind of into like managing the home environment. So like the idea of simplicity and reducing clutter. I think that in this area too, more stuff just means more to clean. Like I don't have anything on any surfaces anymore for the most part. Like there's a few things in like places that my son can't reach that are like decorative, but like I don't keep things on our entryway table. I don't keep things on the dining room table. I don't keep things on the kitchen counters because when I go to wipe the counters, I don't want to have to move anything. So that also I feel like really simplified things for me. Like when I do dust, there's not many things to dust because I don't have like I have one fake plant and one shelf with like stuff on it, but other than that, I don't have anything like that I need to dust. So like really that has simplified things for me as well. And I think in this area, I think we just need to be intentional about like what comes into our home. We can't like control everything. Like there's gonna be things that come in. That's okay. But like just choosing fewer meaningful pieces instead of just constant decor. Like I don't feel the need to have like seasonal stuff anymore. I used to, and I thought that it was fun when I was single and at the time. But now I don't necessarily decorate for every single holiday, and I've enjoyed doing crafts for decor versus having a bunch of stuff to store and to clean and to keep and to get out, and it's just the seasons are moving so fast, I just don't got time for that right now. So,
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
just been and it costs money to buy all that stuff, like, that you see at Target or and it's so cute. I totally love looking at it online and scrolling Pinterest, but, like, I've just chosen not to it's just not a priority for me right now.
Yeah. I feel that.
And then, like I said, one thing that's still totally overwhelming me, but I need to figure out is this just a toy rotation? But I also think that like part of it is just letting it go and accepting that things are going to come in, and then just having a system in place for a continual declutter. Like we have, like I mentioned last week, a bin in our closet for kids' clothes and my clothes. Like if I realize something's too small or it doesn't fit, like I'll just have a bin. And so I just put it in the bin. And then quarterly, I try to go in and empty the bin and take things to Goodwill or take things to Once Upon a Child or, put them on Facebook. I I think that doing that in more than just the clothing area, so with toys, I think I need to do that too. Like we do have a bin in our laundry room that's just a Goodwill bin that we just keep there. So if in our kitchen or in our living room or in our toy room, like if things are not serving our family anymore and they need to go, we'll just put them in that bin. And then all at once, I'll think about what we're going to do with that stuff versus like having to, like every time I have an item I want to declutter, I have to put it on Facebook. Like I'll just wait and put it in the bin and do it quarterly. And I feel like that helps me because again, you are going to have to declutter. You can't really avoid it. Things are going to come in, uh, but you can just simplify that process and like that way you don't have to think about when you're going to do it. You just know it's there for when you've set your time to do it.
This reminds me of a verse in Luke. It's Luke 12:15, and it says, "Take care and be on your guard against all covetousness, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions." And just a reminder that life is not about accumulating possessions. Like I'd much rather have memories with my family than like have a bunch of stuff. Like that's especially we're not bringing it to heaven with us.
Yes, exactly. So let's end on the system of finances in our home. Like we talked about last week, homemaking and finances are deeply connected. Small daily decisions in the financial area lead to long term impact for your family, and the focus should be on intentional spending and stewardship, the idea of stewardship. So, one, we have to be thoughtful about household purchases. This kind of goes with the clutter topic too, because we can control what's coming in to an extent. And so just being thoughtful about our purchases is important, and then investing in items that last versus just like small one-off Amazon purchases that you're not thinking through. Like I think that it's important to invest in things that are quality and good for your family, but then also to take care of them. I feel like I'm really guilty, especially in the laundry area, of being kind of frivolous with, like, how I'm taking care of things. Like, I'll just throw it like, I don't separate my clothes, I don't check the pockets for pens, which I really should have done a few weeks ago. And so just taking care of our clothes, like, paying attention to what the tag says about washing instructions, like, I haven't done that, and I really want to because that's a way that I can be a better steward with what we're purchasing, and so it'll last longer. Um, and I wanted to kind of give you my and my husband's system for finances. We talk about our system a lot because we've really enjoyed it. Because let's see, fixed expenses are kind of a whole thing in and of themselves, and I'd rope savings into fixed expenses, honestly, because once you set it, it should be pretty mindless. But when it comes to our variable expenses, so the things that change every month, I wanted to just give you an overview of our system because it has worked pretty well for us so far. Basically, like early on in our marriage, we realized that we it was basically the tragedy of the commons, which if you don't know what that like reference is, basically when someone does not have ownership over something, then they're not going to take care of it. So think of like a bathroom at a city park. Like no one really owns that, and so no one really takes care of it, so it really ends up trashy. For us and our finances, when we like neither of us really had ownership over a pot of money, we realized we were more easily justifying spending. So, like, if I didn't know exactly which pot my money for coffee was coming out of, then like I would just buy coffee and like we'd figure out the budget later kind of mindset. But what we did recently is we basically gave ourselves an allowance. So in our bank account, Nolan and I both have our own checking account and we have our own a debit card that goes with that checking account. And basically, we get a set amount each month, and we have to be really honest with our purchases, like if it's a personal purchase or a family purchase. If I'm buying, for example, like protein powder that my whole family is going to eat in our smoothies or in our pancakes or whatever it may be, then like that's obviously a household that goes under our grocery purchase. But if I'm buying a protein powder that is just a specific flavor for my coffee, or if I'm buying like electrolytes that are just because I want the extra thing, or if I'm buying coffee out, or if I'm buying like a fun clothing purchase versus a necessary clothing purchase. Like that's all coming out of my own fun money. And my fun money is also what I need to use for like buying people gifts and for like things down the line. So I have to be more cautious about saving my fun money too. So I feel like once we had like our own checking account within our joint checking account, because I do think couples should like join their finances, but once we had our own like allowance and we're more strict on that, then I feel like we've spent a lot less money on things because we have ownership and we need to save if we want to spend money down the line. So that's really been a good system for us, like having our own accounts within our main account. And then we also another part of our system that I've really enjoyed is what we call our MISC account, our MISC fund. So we have our set budget number for household expenses. And then if one month we don't spend all of that budget, then that money will then go into what we call our MISC fund. And our MISC fund is what we use to purchase items that we think we want for our household that Nolan and I both agree on. So for example, right now, I would love to get some new patio furniture. That's not something that I necessarily like want to use my money on because it's something like for our family, for our house. But I also know that it's not a need. And so what we'll do is if we have extra money, if I've like been really diligent with my grocery shopping and if I've like paid really close attention to using sales and all these different things, then if we have extra money, it'll go in a pot called our Miss Fund that'll be saved for purchases like that. Or if no one wants to buy a generator, for example, like that's not something we could justify it as a need, but also it's not like within our typical like household expense budget. And so let's be diligent in that area and save. That way we can buy that thing that is not necessarily a fun purchase, but something that we want to buy for our family. So I hope that makes sense. It's kind of a lot, but I've really enjoyed that system because it puts everything in its proper place, and there's not like we're accounting for every dollar, like Dave Ramsey is so, um, known for saying. Like, we want to pay attention to where every dollar is going, and this system's really allowed us to do that.
Yeah, I don't have a system, but I do think it's important to, because I'm like, I don't have the energy for that. Also, Matt doesn't really buy anything, so it's really just me spending everything. But I do track. I think it's important. I feel like that's something that has really helped my spending is just like tracking what I'm spending and like trying to stick to a budget. So we do budget. I just use like an app, which I'm like selling my financial information, but like whatever. I just like track everything we're spending. And I feel like that has really helped me be more intentional with the purchases because I simply don't. I just don't. Matt doesn't have the energy. I don't have the energy, but we do track. I think that is important and has helped. And then he just looks at it at the end of the month. I'm more so like in charge of our finances, and he kind of looks at it and he's more into like the savings goal and puts stuff in there and stuff. But we'll definitely be more intentional when I do get out, just because we'll have less. But I think practicing, if you're starting small, like me, just start with a budget and go from there. Yeah, like, are you spending less than you're making? Are you
Yes.
saving? Like, that is like
Basics.
basics we're with. Like, we save every month, we contribute to our retirements, we're not spending more than we make, and we have like savings that we use if we want to buy something big.
Well, and 2 other areas that we've, I guess, found good systems for. One, we do have a travel budget now, and we basically right now we're funding next year's travel because you have to obviously buy travel like ahead of time. So every month, I forget how much it is per month, but it's $3,000 a year that we are putting in a travel budget. That way, like when we want to buy flights to Washington, which are so expensive, we have the money set. And then we've also decided that like we are going to spend our travel budget every year. Like if we have money left over in November, December, like we're going to take a weekend trip and go because we want to use our travel budget. So we do have money set aside for that because we were trying to do that with like other categories and it was like, where do you pull this from? And it was just confusing. So we finally like set aside a travel budget. And then also I would be silly if I didn't mention giving as well. Like we do think it's really important to give, and what we found is is really cool and fun and freeing for us is we we have like our certain amounts like set up to different places like our church and different ministries, but then we also have just a checking account for giving in general because then if we the stuff that's already been automatically pulled from that account is gone and then we have just kind of a lump sum that's building over time like in that account, then like if there are random things that come up and someone like has a need, we have this pot set aside and we're like, oh here, like, and then we can freely give, and that feels really good. And I think it honors the Lord too when we can just freely give and it's not affecting our finances. Like we don't have to worry about it at all, but we just have pre-planned to be able to give generously. That's been something that I feel like has blessed us a lot in return, just being able to very freely since the Lord has been so generous to us in the financial areas. Yeah, those are just some systems that I feel like have really helped us. So that kind of wraps us up. Ultimately, no one system works for everyone. I mean, you heard here that me and Liz have different systems that work for us based on our lifestyles, and we're all different. So that's okay. The goal isn't to do everything perfectly, but to just start small and build rhythms that actually serve your family. Good systems should create peace and freedom in your home, not pressure. And homemaking is something that we learn over time. It doesn't happen all at once. Like I'm sure in 30 years from now, Liz and I will look back at this episode and think that we didn't have anything figured out, which hopefully that's true because hopefully we're continuing to grow. In Matthew 11:28 through 30, Jesus says, come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. And that's just a good reminder that the work we're doing in our homes shouldn't feel overwhelming. We're meant to find peace in it. And if we turn to Jesus for all things, then we can walk freely with him. So today we talked about building simple rhythms, keeping meals manageable, reducing clutter, and being intentional with what we bring into our homes. And if any of these homemaking episodes resonated with you and you have advice that you'd like to share, or if you have questions for us, we'd love to have you on our April Zoom discussion on, again, Monday, April 27th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There's a really fun guest episode next week, so we hope that you will listen in for that. And with that, this has been Erin and Liz helping you mind your mission.